Hello and welcome. My name is Dan Meyer. I'm editor-in-chief of RCR Wireless News. Thanks for joining us today. Today I am joined by Roger Entner, who is a founder and lead analyst at Recon Analytics. Thanks, Roger, for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Good deal. Well, I think we want to talk about a little bit today, I guess, the ongoing saga, soap opera, fiasco, whatever you want to call it, that is Clearwire. This week there were several announcements coming out, but it all kind of culminated this today, I guess, with Clearwire yet again postponing its shareholder vote on the Sprint Nextel proposal in light of Dish Network again putting in a bid on the company. So I was hoping to catch up with you, Roger. I guess get your insights on what's happening here. Obviously, there's lots of players involved in this space or in this issue. So I guess to get your overview on where we're at and what might happen here with all these different interests going on.
Well, we're at Clearwire's board evaluating bids again.
Yeah.
Sprint very nicely plays by the rules and submits its bids, which are always a little bit higher than what they had before, and hopefully they make it. And then out of nowhere comes Charlie Ergen, drops a hand grenade, and a day or two before, and blows up the party. Now we're delayed to June 13, which is actually quite interesting because it's a day after the Sprint vote for who they will pick as their buyer. And again, from the right enters Charlie Ergen, and from the left we have Masahito Sato from Softbank. And it will be very interesting to see because, however this one will work out, we'll see if Charlie Ergen wins it all and takes it home and basically has this whole thing wrapped up, or if the saga continues with SoftBank owning Sprint and then having to continue to duke it out with Dish and other unruly shareholders like Crest who don't want to sell at all. So, it's like you almost have to feel sorry for Sprint. It's like, oh.
It is a bit of a mess. I mean, I hate to laugh at this situation, but it's gotten to the point, I think, where if you cannot laugh. I mean, it's just like you said, Charlie Ergen, Dish always seem to come in a day late, but never a dollar short. That's for sure. And
not even a day late, a day early, right in time to mess up everybody else's very carefully laid out plans. It's masterful, He wants to be disruptive and does that with a skill like nobody else. So he has developed here a skill in kicking people's sandcastles over that's almost unprecedented. And if he maybe the most dangerous thing for him is actually to win in the end.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, obviously, they're not afraid to throw around some money, but this is a lot of money for Dish, who in their primary business is perhaps not growing very fast. They obviously have money. But I mean, in the end, do they really want to spend $25+ billion for Sprint? I mean, that's
after that, they're by far the most leveraged company in telecom.
Yeah.
And how are they going to invest then heavily into a network when companies like AT&T are investing $13 billion a year for the next couple of years in their network? I don't see how they can come even close. And, they will have smart engineers, you name it. But you're not double and triple as smart as the competition. So the gap between AT&T and Verizon, simply based on the investment, is going to get bigger. Consumers are going to benefit because you want companies to heavily invest it.
Mhm.
It's just you have then this never-ending saga of drama. It's almost like a piñata. You hit it, and it kicks out stories and opportunity for analysis that's priceless.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you're right. I mean, from a reporter point of view, it's definitely been a great, if not frustrating story, but yeah, it's definitely been a lot of entertainment. So, but again, so I mean, as this plays out, like you said, it is kind of a sad state of affairs for Sprint because obviously Sprint is in the middle of this network vision program. It's trying to, it's trying to play catch up with the big guys. That requires money. And I guess from their point of view, they don't maybe they care who gives them the money, but at this point, they just need the money to really build this thing out. And I'm sure they'd like to
Yeah,
just get this all cleared up.
and SoftBank certainly has, from what we can tell, deeper pockets than Dish Network. But I think what this clearly shows is this is not you have Charlie Ergen, one of the smartest and most frugal guys out there, duking it out with a guy in Japan. You know how they only do this if they really see a chance, and so this really shows how competitive the market is. How two extremely shrewd guys that are basically self-made billionaires see this as a fantastic opportunity. So it's going to be interesting how they enter this, and it's only over when the fat lady sings, and I think this might go on for quite a while. You know?
Yeah, and again, maybe that could be a to the detriment of Sprint because again, like we mentioned too, it's Sprint is trying to stay on top of the game here and get this network built out, and it's same with Clearwire. I mean, Clearwire is the same position. I mean, they need funds, they need to kind of work on this LTE network, and as this plays out, they're kind of being perhaps delayed in trying to get this stuff rolled out.
And John Ledger in Seattle laughs all the way through the whole thing because he was able to pull off his merger relatively easy. He only had to go back once,
Yeah.
thought, and now he has it wrapped up, and they're executing, from what I can tell, quite well. It's their advertising campaign has some snags, but
Yes.
other than that, yeah, it's the big loser is Sprint.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, and like you said, that's tough. I mean, you feel sorry for those guys because again, they seem to have been on a roll there after the SoftBank offer. It seemed like things are going smoothly, and since then, it's all kind of fallen apart on them. So you just kind of
well,
wonder.
you can only keep their head down, execute
Yeah,
on what they have, and move forward. And then whoever will win will have to give them new marching orders.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, it's but either way, how this will work out, you have to say who is responsible for this mess. Who will ultimately take responsibility for it? Because this is anything but smooth.
yeah. Yeah. Well, who do you? Do you blame Charlie Ergen for this whole thing because he keeps throwing this stuff out? Or do you blame the Sprint folks? I mean, obviously SoftBank has been fairly, they've been not quiet, but they haven't, at one point said they want to increase their bid, which maybe could solve the whole thing. But again, that's easy to say, I guess. But
Well, I think the guy who's least to blame is actually Charlie Ergen because he does everything he's supposed to do. You know,
yeah,
if he wins the thing, congratulations. If he just does this to be a massive pain in somebody's neck to get a better deal on a negotiation, you know, uh, after this, I doubt anybody will ever mess with him. When you look at it, you have to say, it always takes two. So um, it's I think from what it looks like is SoftBank does everything right behind the scenes.
yeah,
They tied it up with Congress. It looks like it's pretty smooth with the FCC and the DOJ. I think Sprint worked here very well either. So, but even if nobody is objectively to blame, somebody will get blamed for it. It's always somebody will get blamed for it. In the end, it might be the poor. If SoftBank wins, it might be the poor guy who pissed off Charlie Ergen. Really keep the hornet's nest.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said too, is Dish at some point? I mean, obviously, this is a lot of money involved, and perhaps they don't want to spend this much money, but it does seem like if anything, at least, they are leveraging a position because they do have this 30 megahertz of spectrum or 40 megahertz of spectrum that they secured. Building out their own network would be probably a big expense. Competing would be difficult on their own. So, I mean, if anything, it seems like they're at least putting themselves in a leveraged position to negotiate a deal. And you kind of mentioned this, negotiating a deal with whoever wins this situation in the end. I mean, perhaps in the end.
But in the end, do you actually want to make a deal with a partner like this? And the rest of the industry is looking very carefully, and they might just say, this guy is way too toxic. I'm not going to entertain, with a partner like that, who needs enemies? So you have to be very careful in how hard you're driving your bargain.
Yeah.
And it's partners are partners, not adversaries.
Yeah.
And so it comes to a certain point where you can overdo it.
Yeah, good point. Well, I guess one final question before I let you go on this. I mean, I guess how do you see this playing out? I mean, obviously the next couple of weeks will be interesting to see, if people come back with new offers or what kind of the situation is. But in game on this, I mean, looking at it from this point of view, and obviously, like I said, it could change any day. But looking at it from today, May 31st, what's your view on how this plays out 3 weeks from now?
Well, I think it's quite likely that SoftBank might have to sweeten the deal a little bit, because Charlie Ergen plays very well here by giving oranges for Apple's offers, and for both, for Sprint and for Clearwire, the bids are not comparable, and the financial markets are hopping on this like it is comparable. Mm-hmm. Like on the Clearwire side, Sprint wants to buy the 40-something% they don't own already. Mm-hmm. Clearwire, Dish wants to buy only 25%. That means about 20% of shareholders, which means half of the shareholders that are not, or half of the shares that are not owned by Sprint, are going to get nothing.
Yeah.
And the $4 and change that the stock market currently tells you it's worth will deflate very quickly again.
Yeah.
And it's very similar in the situation with Sprint. So both Sprint and, well, depending on what Sprint thinks is the better offer, both sides, well, especially SoftBank, has to either sweeten the deal, or it has to do a lot better campaign to explain why their bid is actually superior. Because Charlie Ergen did a masterful job in convincing the world of the contrary.
Yeah.
So, I think it's quite foreseeable that we'll go into the fall with this, and it's going to be another two inconclusive shareholder non-votes, because they're not voting, come June 12th and 13th. So, we will talk about this topic again. I have no doubt about it.
Well, I apologize for that, because I'm sure I will bug you again on the topic as well. But you're right. I made a good point there where you mentioned the apples to oranges comparison, because Dish has done a pretty good job of putting an offer out there, but it's a very convoluted offer. I mean, like you said, they only want a portion of of maybe the Clearwire stuff. Even the Sprint deal has got these little caveats to it that are not as clear cut as it seems like the SoftBank deal is. So yeah, you're right. It's definitely different.
The SoftBank deal is a straightforward, clear, very understandable offer.
Yeah.
And it's the Dish offer has been designed by an economist, and you don't understand a thing. I have a really, really hard time to figure out what is it that they're actually offering. And everybody takes the soundbite and swallows it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So, you have to congratulate them. But, SoftBank has to up its game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like you said, I'm sure this is something we'll be following for the next at least couple of weeks, if not much longer than that. So again,
you will see so much crying from the people who will not get money from Clearwire from Dish if Dish wins, and they're like, "Oh, I thought I would get $4.40." No, you got nothing. You got a handshake. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how it plays out. But again, hey Roger, definitely appreciate the time and the insight on this. And like we said, I'm sure we'll be discussing this at some point here going forward. So again, appreciate the time and the insight today.
All right, thank you very much.